Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Meridy here, and today I'm here with my very first process video for Not Just for Boys using our Wild and Free Limitless and Essentials Kit. So I've got both kits here that I'm working with, and I have all of my little embellishments and pieces in this little caddy right here in my stamp sets and whatnot. I pulled all of the little hearts and stars out of the embellishment packs because there was just a ton of hearts and stars, and I put them in this little thing so that they weren't slipping down to the very bottom of all the rest of my pieces of ephemera and die cuts there. So I've got all this stuff to use, my little fabric rolls and appliques. And then this is what I have also pulled to work with. So I am going to scrapbook this one 4x6 picture of my son and his girlfriend. This is from 2 years ago, September of 2023. And let me show you what I think that I will probably use on this layout. Let me get it out of here. Okay, I've got my color swatch here. I've just got that to refer to in case I need to grab cardstock, and I've got my little faux journaling cards that I'm going to use at the end of the layout to represent where I put my journaling. I've got the die cut packaging from the Wildwood Secrets die cuts, and I'm just gonna cut straight across. Okay, because I can use that. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna use this side, but I can use this side as a layer of paper, and then I'm gonna just throw this little piece away. Okay, I have my little bonus sheet here that came in our subscribers. If you subscribe to our kits, you got this little bonus sheet of cut aparts, and I'm just gonna do a real messy job at cutting apart these two bunches of flowers because I totally think I could use them. This is a page of my son and his girlfriend, so I think I can use these flowers. I love the color scheme of them with this just like really nice muted color scheme. I probably won't use any of the rest of this on this layout, but I will store it with my kit so I can use it on other layouts. Okay, I've got my Minte chippies, and I really want to use some of these for sure. So I am going to set them right off to the side for just a few minutes until I figure out exactly what ones I want to use. The main paper that I want to use for this one is this paper. I love it. I love that it's like the design of the layout is already started with this paper. I do like the B side of this paper as well, but I just think that I might use this whole side for my picture because I just think that I can embellish up this picture and make it look really good on this paper. And then the other paper that I want to use is this polka dotted paper, and it's got all the little foxes and deer and rabbits and forest greenery on the, I guess that's the A side, but I want to focus on the B side because she's wearing a green hoodie, and I think I can bring some of this green in here and maybe layer up a little with this. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use that, but let's see. And then I've got more pieces of ephemera that I pulled to use with this specific layout. I pulled them out ahead of time. I've got a heart. Life with you is beautiful. A few more greenery. Okay, I thought these guys were totally cute. It's so cute. I need to include them on there. I just love them. Some more greenery, another little mushroom, because I can like expand this like up over the picture and make it kind of overlap the bottom of the picture. That's why I grabbed a lot of these pieces. More greenery and a pink heart and a green heart. So, and then I have a ton more left over here that I didn't even touch. And you guys, normally I would just dump all these die cuts together, but these are the Minte ones, and they're so fine, like the tiny little pieces, like the little tiny ears on this guy and stuff, that I don't want them to tear on other things. And the legs on the deer, it's just so fine since they're laser cut that I left them in a bag. And I probably want to use a couple of those flowers. I think I kind of like my picture over here because I don't want to cover up a bunch of those, but maybe, and I don't really want to cover any of my picture. I love the background. I love the little sun peeking through up there, so I really don't want to overlap my picture much at all on this layout. I like the rocks they're sitting on and all the moss. So I really think I'm just gonna kind of work with what's here. Oh my gosh, but these guys are just the cutest little thing ever. I don't know where I want to put them, but I need to include them somewhere. But I don't want it to be like they just look like they're sitting there just being included just to include them up there. So that is not what I want to do. But I'll set them there for just a minute till I figure out a place for them. And I do know that I can layer all of these things up. Let's see. Not sure how I like that. I do kind of like the title up there. I think I need to fussy cut both of these flowers out so I can see how I want to arrange them. I think I'm going to mount my photo on white, and I think I'm going to use this for another layer in there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this 5 inches wide and 7 inches long because my photo is 4 by 6. So this, oh my gosh, you guys, my trimmer. I lost the little washer on the bottom and I need to buy a new one and I haven't done it yet. I need to go to the hardware store and get that so my arm doesn't keep falling off. Okay, and then I think I can layer this up like underneath maybe. I'm not too sure. So maybe just a little bit of that mushroom paper is showing. Kind of like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go fussy cut these out the rest of the way and get this matted on white paper, and I will be right back. Alrighty, so I've got those done. Maybe I can cover this picture a tiny little bit. It doesn't look bad, like it's not covering a lot. Maybe I can do that. I might move these leaves. And then I want to incorporate these flowers, but I don't want it to look too mismatched, like they're sticking out like a sore thumb, since they aren't totally the same color scheme. I'm not sure if I like them. Maybe not on this one. They're just a little bit too monochromatic for this layout, I think, because this layout includes like all the colors. So I'm gonna set these around, and now I've got to come in here. I'm not really done. That's not everything. But I do want to come in here and add some of this greenery that I can put on here. So I think I'm going to cut out this one right here. And in order to get these off of the background carrier sheet that they're on, you just come in with an X-Acto knife, and there's just a couple little places that each piece is attached to the sheet, and you just need to slice through those little pieces. So I would not try to punch this out by hand. I would definitely use an X-Acto knife, otherwise you're going to break it. And as you can see, like this little flower that I'm cutting out right now, I think it was only attached in those 3 places. Oh no, here's a 4th one right there. So once you get it free, it just comes out really easily. And I don't know Maybe I want it like that. Sort of. I don't know about that mushroom. Okay, and I want to get another couple little things on here. Which one should I use next? I'm thinking maybe this flower right here. And one more sprig of leaves in this area. Maybe a little one here. I am going to embellish these with some mixed media so they'll pop a little. I think I might want to use this bigger sprig as well. The nice part about these chippies is you can use the front or the back side to make them go whichever way you want. I mean, unless there's words on them, then you can't really do that with words, but. And maybe one more little flower. And if I had to put a flower, I think I would just put it right on top. This one needs to be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna grab a little larger one and punch it out, because that little tiny one was almost getting lost down there. I kind of like all three of those and both of those. Okay guys, what I'm going to do, I had a few ideas to add a little bit in the background to dress this up a little, and I'm going to use 3 different products to do that. What I think I'm going to do first is kind of get this all adhered together so it's one big grouping. So I need to color these various things first. And I think, let's see, let me get a little pieces. I'll just use my little mat here to color things on. And I think that I will use some of my Distress Oxide inks right here to color them. I got this cool little thing. I'm gonna link it in my video. It's basically fingernail polish holders, which I know everyone already knows about that, to keep their inks in. But I decided this is what I wanted to hold my stuff for the current kit I'm working with, since I'm obviously working with a kit, the same kit the whole month. So if you like to scrapbook like that with the same, using the same kit like all month long, or you know, the same kit for a week or two and you work a lot out of it, or when you're working on a December daily, or possibly like if you work on mini albums or just projects that you're using the same supplies for a while, for, you know, longer than a day probably, and you pull out mixed media, how I do, like before, I pull out my mixed media before I start working with the kit. This little idea works great. It holds everything, but you know what it doesn't hold, you guys? It doesn't hold Nuvo mica mists. So if you have mica mists, it doesn't fit in the trays. I didn't really like think about that when I bought it. I just bought it because I knew it held the ink pads really well. And I knew it would hold the little Nuvo drops and whatnot, and it holds Distress Oxide. It holds my glue in here. It holds my little tiny things of acrylic paint, even my little sequin jars. But yeah, I kind of like that I don't have to dig through, because I was just keeping all of this stuff in a little like basket, and I was having to dig through it, and it was kind of making a mess. So I'm super happy that I got this. Okay, so right now I just colored that with Mowed Lawn. I'm gonna come in with some Rustic Wilderness, which is darker than the Mowed Lawn, and put it like kind of ombre, making it kind of ombre. And then I'm gonna come in after I get all this applied with some bundled sage and put that like at the tips of the leaves, so it kind of goes dark to light. And then you can add all kinds of different things to these. You can add Nuvo drops or even paint them with Nuvo drops. Maybe I'll do the flower with some Nuvo drops to show you different ways to alter these. So I got that all embellished up. And you know what? Maybe I'll splatter him with some Nuvo Mica Mist in this wild olive. You get a little scratch piece of paper. I don't get it all over my work surface here. Can't really see that very good. And then I think I'll put a little water because water activates the Distress Oxide ink. And I'll see how that works. And blot it off. So I've got that piece done. It looks like this. I don't know, it might be kind of hard to see. So I'm twisting it to show you the shimmers of the Nuvo. And then I think maybe I want to do these leaves in more of a brown and green color. So I think I'm going to use Bundled Sage and tea dye on those, because then they'll look like they're fall leaves and turning brown. So I'll start with the Bundled Sage, and I'm just going to put it on the tips of the leaves. I could do this for both of these this little guy too. And then I'm going to come in with the tea dye and do the stem and the inside of the leaves. And just watch to use different brushes when you're doing the different colors, or you're going to contaminate your ink to other colors. And then I think I want to even use a darker brown. We'll use this walnut stain on the stems because they're not really showing up. It's almost like it's going to look kind of like a branch. And these do kind of blend into the background where I've got all those other, where the paper is all, you know, floral, but I think it looks good. Okay, see, I want to do the flower like a rust and yellow, so I'm going to try getting Antique Lemon, Spiced Marmalade, and I'm going to get this Mustard Jar Vintage Drops and see how that will work. And I'm just experimenting, guys. I don't really have a plan. I'm just kind of going just with whatever I see and the colors that I already have picked. If I go into my ink colors and try getting more colors, it'll just be, pretty soon I'll have all 72 colors of ink out here and it will be totally overwhelming. So I'm going to start at the tips of the leaves, coloring them in this orange, and then I'm going to just fill it in with the Antique Linen. I'll go off camera to finish the tops of these leaves and I'll be right back. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here with this, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet. It's actually really similar to the color that I just made. So I'm going to also use some gold and also a little bit of this dark walnut. And hopefully between all of these colors I can do something here to add a little texture or what color or whatnot. It really isn't doing much of anything here. Guess I'm just gonna kind of stipple it over the whole thing. It's just kind of adding a little layer of texture. I'm gonna leave that. And then I've still got this and these. So let me go rinse off some of my brushes because I want to use shades of blue and white on that one and this one. So I will be right back. And I actually am getting one more color, Victorian Velvet, because I want to paint this flower the color of these light pinks in there, and I hadn't pulled anything even remotely close to that. So let's jump in here and paint some of these little guys blue. Okay. And then I want some of them to be white, and I don't have white. You know what? I'm gonna do the white at the end. I'm gonna paint the stems and whatnot green first. I'm just gonna use the bundled sage in here. And then I am going to use some white paint. This is just white acrylic paint. And I'm going to use a tiny bit of this again. You know what? I'm going to use it like little dots in the middle of the flowers. Okay, and I'm going to call that one done. I know it still needs to dry, so I don't want to tuck it underneath, but it's going to go up there. And then this one, I would like to paint some of this. And I think I'm going to do the inside more of the antique linen. This is Victorian Velvet, just so that I can bring some of that color in that's in the other areas of this page. Okay guys, I think I got all of those colored. I guess I've got this color of ink now too that I'm gonna add to my little ink stand. Now, I'm gonna go rinse all these brushes and I will be right back. Alrighty guys, I know that all of these are not totally dry, but I'm gonna start adhering things together so I can just keep on moving. So what I am going to do is I'm gonna cut a little L shape from this paper because only part of it was showing, you know, out of the top corner like this. And I want the rest of it, I think, to go down there. Yeah, I think I like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adhering things down, and not to the back of the page yet, but just to each other, so I can lift this up and do some mixed media on the back of the page and just make sure everything is staying together. I often do that in my videos. Someone asked if I could do this on camera recently and show how I get everything adhered, and so I'm gonna do this one since it's a fairly small amount and it won't be too boring. If you don't want to watch this, you might want to fast forward through this part, but this is all I do to make things stay together so I can lift them. Like usually I just totally go off camera at this point, but this is all I do. I just put the little adhesive in the places where I know that it's touching the next layer down. And it is a little bit of movement, you know, things get moved around a little, which is fine. I am gonna pop these guys up on foam because they are so cute. I die every time I look at them. I just think they're so cute. I don't know why. They're like my favorite piece of ephemera in this whole kit is the little hedgehogs. And I hope Natalie is watching this. Natalie is my son's girlfriend, because I told her I was going to be scrapbooking a picture of her, and I told her when it would air. She doesn't scrapbook, but I hope that she watches this. So hi, Natalie, if you're watching. Okay. I can't remember where I had all these pieces exactly to make them look exactly the same, but I think this is pretty close. I'm not going to adhere down the oh my gosh, the chippies quite yet, because they're adhered to the back of the page. They're not adhered to this cluster really at all. Let's see, we'll make them be like that. And then so I'm going to take all the adhesive off of this, but some of it is going to stick out over the edge. There, that's good. And then I can adhere this one, just one little leaf down. I did the wrong leaf, I think. Yeah, I did. Because one little leaf is sticking there on the paper. Okay, and now we've got to come over here, and of course this is not all dry yet. I don't even remember how I had these sticking. I think they were kind of like that. So I'll just put a little glue just on the very bottom, because that's all the part that's on the paper. And then I've got these in there. Yeah, I'll put it up over there. Okay, guys, so now I'm not putting the title on quite yet, but now I can lift this entire thing, minus this little guy, up and down really easily, so I can add my mixed media underneath it. And I honestly think that this is just a little bit too bright orange. I'm going to hopefully not mess this up and add a little bit so it tones down a little bit. It's not so bright orange. I'm gonna add some of this tea dye to the top of the whole thing. It was just really looking like it was really sticking out to me. The bright orange. It's almost like pumpkin orange on the tips of those leaves. Ah, so much better. It toned it down. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in real life it toned it down. It went from being like bright pumpkin orange to just more of like a calm orange. Okay, for my background, I am going to put some of this and some of this across the background. I'm gonna use a paintbrush. I know that I need a little bit right here, a little bit right here, and a little bit up there. I don't need to do the whole back because this is all covered. So I wonder if I could just paint this on without even watering it down. Yeah, I think so. And then just maybe spritz a little water on here. Oh yeah, that's good. I just want a little bit of color think this does need water though. Let me try this another way. I'm putting a little water even on the background sheet so it just carries the liquid a little. And I don't want it to be like an overwhelming mix of color. So there's that. You know, I think I should have used the packaging method here and not this paintbrush. So I'm gonna grab a little piece of packaging and come in here and kind of smoosh it around. This is looking way better than the paintbrush method that I was using a second ago. Okay, let's see how this looks so far. Okay, that looks nice. I think I want a little more green on there. I think I went a little too crazy with the gold. That's okay. Okay, now that I've got all of that, gotta let it dry a little. And honestly, you can't really see it unless it's shimmering in the light because it's very mica. Okay, I'm going to use some of this acrylic paint and mix it with some water and splatter it on here too, because I think that will look really nice too. So I will be right back after I get this all rinsed off. All right, so I got a bunch of the acrylic paint and I'm gonna spritz it with water. And I'm gonna grab a regular old paintbrush. I think I'll use my water brush in case I need to add more water to this. And I'm just gonna mix it up really well so it's super thin and splatty. And yes, I'm needing more water already. I'm gonna test it, feed it a little water. Oh no, oh well. Okay, I think I've got plenty of white splatters. Now, I'm gonna let this whole entire thing dry and clean up this whole work surface, and I will come back to finish up this layout in a bit. All right, guys, everything seems to be dry, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this down a little lower. So I'm just going to flip this over and get adhesive on the back of it. And I'm gonna use liquid adhesive on the back of the pieces of chippies that are sticking out because liquid adhesive will hold much better than double-sided tape on the back of these things. Whoop. All right. My paper is a little warped because of all of the water that I put on there, but it will lay flat once I get it in albums. I'm really wanting to overlap this a little bit on the picture because it just feels like it needs to overlap. It kind of feels a little disjointed to put it way up there. But I don't want to cover up really any of my picture because I love it. And I love like the sun through the trees. I don't know what I'm gonna do there yet. So I really like the way that the white little splatters came out here. I do think I put a little too much gold. It's okay. If I was doing this layout again, I would stick mostly with the green and maybe just some gold splatters. Okay, now to worry about this title. I think I want to pop the word beautiful up on foam tape. So I will do that. Okay, and then I just want to come in here with a couple little things and add them. I would love to add 2 little hearts in here. I would love to add some of these flowers as well. Probably not the teal. That color looks fine. This color looks fine. This color is a little bright, and this mauve color looks great, I think. Now I just need to figure out where to add them. Okay, I think I'm just gonna narrow it down and put 2 of them on because I can't find a good place for the 3rd one. So I'm gonna use Eileen's Tacky Glue because this holds fabric, whoa, real well. And there is a lot of glue on there. Okay. And then I'll keep that out just in case. I know I pulled this little mushroom, but I don't see a place for it right now, so I'm not gonna put it. And I have this other little heart. And I just randomly picked these hearts. I have a whole little jar of hearts and stars, so I can pick other sizes and other colors. Okay, I think I'll stick to those 3 colors. And we'll get those stuck down. Okay guys, while I'm finishing putting on these, oh, I forgot to show you where my journaling is going to go to. So I'll show you that in a minute. But if you were inspired by my layout today, whether it was to recreate this layout using your Wild and Free kits exactly how I did here, or maybe you were just inspired to pull out your Wild and Free kit and use it, or maybe you were inspired to pull out similar items from your stash and use them. Whatever the case may be, we would love to see what you created on our Not Just for Boys Kit Club community Facebook page, which I will link in the description of this video. If you enjoyed my process video today, you may want to follow or subscribe to us here on YouTube. I try to post about 8 process videos a month using the current month's kit at Not Just for Boys. And if you want to see what I'm using this month, you can watch our unboxing, our August 2025 unboxing video of the Wild and Free kit. You can find it in the playlist that I've linked in the description of this video. So you can see all the pieces that I'm working with this month. If you love our kits at Not Just for Boys, you can simply shop our website, or you can even subscribe to our kits and you'll automatically receive one every month in the mail. There are some perks to being a subscriber, including discounted kits. So I will link that information as well. I ended up not using these, but that's okay. I have them ready for whatever layout I do use them on. And let me show you where I think I will put my journaling. Probably down here. Yeah, I'll probably put it in this area. These just represent my journaling strips, because what I'll do is I'll journal on the computer and print it out and cut it into strips and put it down here. And I probably don't even have a lot of journaling. We took a ton of pictures on this camping trip. It will probably just say like Natalie and Hunter camping September 2023 or something like that on Mount Lemon or something, you know, the basics. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in a couple of days with my second process video using this month's kits. Bye.